One. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. Our interview today is with award-winning independent filmmaker Michael Mateo Rossi. Michael is known for his writing and directorial work on such films as 2022 Shadows and a couple upcoming films, The Sweepers and The Charisma Killers. He's brought here to us by way of the legendary Shari over at Samara Entertainment and Midnight Releasing. So thank you again, Miss Shari, for hooking us up. We know this is going to be a great interview. The film's great. Hopefully the person's great, which I'm sure he is. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about that filmmaking bug and how it bit you, when, where, and how.
Well, thank you. First of all, it's great to be here, and thank you for that nice introduction.
Yes,
I think that honestly, even starting in my early teens and even before then, I grew up with my dad showing me a lot of classic films growing up. Some of the Hitchcock films, some Twilight Zone, episodes, things like that. And I just always knew I wanted to tell certain stories, and I thought that film was the best medium to do that. So, and yeah, just when I was in college, second year of college, just made a short film, found people to do it, little 4-minute short, and kind of never looked back. I was like, this is what I want to do. I love just telling the stories, working with the actors on the characters that I write, and then directing it. So and here I am, 15 plus years later, still doing it, thankfully. So I've always known that I've loved this, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
So coming up, it was more of a learning by doing approach, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, I did go to film school. I went to film school down in San Diego State. Had a great time there. But it's just like learning another language, right? You go to the country and you learn it versus just taking classes, right? So I just immersed myself, just being on set, doing the short films, trial and error, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. That's it's maybe the more unorthodox approach, but that's the way that I did it.
Right on, man. I understand that, in the indie realm, especially coming up and, trying to hone in your craft, you end up wearing a lot of hats. With the, is there anything that beyond directorial or writing, kind of like when you first started out, was there anything that you really kind of got interested in other than that, like when you're working on a film?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I also produce all the films too, but directing was always the number one for me.
Gotcha.
It's funny because I used to, when I was 12, 13, 14, I used to do theater actually. So I was in front of the audience. And I mean, I got a lot of respect for actors. Everybody thinks that they can act, but that is not true. And it takes some discipline. It takes some studying, just like everything else. But I just found through the whole process, I love directing the most. And I love working with people that trust me as the director to explain the characters that I wrote and everything. So that's the number one thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of directors, I know that in other interviews, you've spoken about some of your favorites, one being Jim Cameron. Question of mine is, in pursuing your want to be able to, make films, what did your shelves look like when you were a kid? I know that, you were into Goodfellas and Casino and films of that nature. Shadows definitely reflects that. What else were you a physical media collector? Were you getting films? What was on your shelf?
Sure. Man? I mean, I grew up on the VHS tapes, of course, grew up in the 90s. All of that. So I just, again, remember going to the local video store. No, I mean, we went to Blockbuster sometimes. We had this local video store where every Friday night would go rent a couple for the weekend. And I kind of miss those days. Don't get me wrong. It's, I guess, easier to stream and to do all of that. But there was something about going there, looking at everything that you could pick out, choosing a couple, those rent to get, the third for free deals. You remember that type of stuff?
I mean, some of the happiest times of my life, man, was waiting for. I was always I was kind of always late to the party unless it was like a big blockbuster type of film.
Right.
Mainly because of if I wanted to rent it, I would wait for it to get into the middle section of the mom and pop that we had. And when it got to the middle section, it was 5 for $5, brother. So you got
Wow.
5 films for $5. So I remember one weekend alone, it was Shawshank, Office,
Oh,
it was Shawshank, Redemption, Office Space,
yeah.
and oh my God, Sling Blade. I watched like all these great
Uh-huh.
films in one weekend as like a 11-year-old or so,
That's
and I was just
amazing.
blown away, man. And it, I think because we talk a lot about physical media here on the channel and stuff like that, and the importance of
Yeah.
that still. But to your point, I'm right there with you. I think it's the having to
It,
commit, and
yeah.
without everything being so easily accessible back in the day. I mean, when you made your commitment to rent whatever, you were going to watch it. There was no like skipping the
Yeah.
intro or, any of
It,
that. I mean,
yeah.
you commit, and then you ended up actually seeing something. Well, I mean, it still could have been bad, obviously. Box art
Right.
is a clever devil sometimes, but
Yeah. Yeah.
is there anything that you remember renting that stuck out back in the day? Like, oh my God, I remember when I rented that.
So weirdly enough, I don't know if you've seen this film. I don't know why I rented it, but do you know that movie Videodrome? It was one of David Cronenberg's first films. It was with James Woods, the guy who
Yeah,
did The
brother. I've got it on the
Fly.
shelf
And
right here.
oh, beautiful. So I rented a VHS copy of Videodrome, not really knowing much about it, just thinking it had a cool cover, all of that. I think whatever people may think about him, I think that James Woods is a very good actor, he's very talented.
Yes.
So
Yes.
very talented. Again, he's in Casino too. He is great playing, these sleazy characters a lot. So I rented Videodrome, not knowing too much about it, not knowing too much about I had seen The Fly before, with the one with Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
and Cronenberg is another one. Not to digress on directors, but Cronenberg is another director I respect the hell out of, and I've
Yeah.
seen him be interviewed before, and it sounds like he and I have, again, not to go on a tangent, just bear with me.
No, you're fine. We got 30 minutes to
Yeah,
fill.
yeah, he was all talking about his approach, that he actually doesn't give that much direction to actors on set. So much of it is he hires good actors. He talks about the characters in great lengths to them before filming, so that day one they're on set, boom, they're good to go. They know every fine
Right.
detail. And I love that, because I actually tweeted this the other day. I am not a director that micromanages my actors. I am not somebody that feeds lines to my actors. I feel like when you have good actors and they understand the character, let them go. If I need to censor them a little bit or just give them the slightest little tweak, I'll do that. But I'm not somebody who's going to just go crazy on them with that, or else I didn't do my job and I didn't get a very good actor if I have to constantly be directing them.
Amen. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's great, man.
Yeah.
So is there any particular director's film that is your favorite, or that you've drawn a
Well,
lot of inspiration from?
yeah. I mean, well, in even though it's not a sci-fi film, tying in Shadows, I think I was influenced a little bit by even Terminator and Terminator 2, the whole Protector story. You've
Right.
seen it where some person comes along, they don't know, the target being Cody, the 18-year-old kid, and coming and having to protect, and then throwing this kind of family there, the estranged mom, the brother, the kid, all of that. So I love that dynamic. So I'd say that I'm influenced by that. Of course, Scorsese, a little bit of Kubrick, a little bit of Michael Mann as well. I think he's fantastic. And again, a little bit of even Fincher, Aronofsky, Nolan, some of the big boys there. De Palma, a little bit too. So I got a lot of respect for all of those people, a lot. So kind of jumble them all in there. Even Tarantino, of course. most of my films, well, I'm in LA, but most of my films have a very distinct LA type feel to them. And that's where all of my films have pretty much been shot in the greater Los Angeles area. So like if you see Pulp Fiction, and I don't know if you've been to LA or you've seen some stuff about it. All of it's very distinct. I recognize the valley part. All of that is very obvious. So that's kind of how I am too.
I unfortunately have not made it out to LA yet. Farthest west I've been is Vegas, but we plan on getting out there soon.
You'll like it. You'll like it. But you can't beat the weather, and the beaches are very nice.
Well, man, it's just, it's talking about cinema and then like seeing all these, these clips from Shadows, and you're talking about Terminator and Terminator 2 that was shot in LA as well.
In LA, correct.
There's this mystique almost, and it's resurging as well. Like even the band, have you heard of this band called The Midnight? They're based out of LA.
Vaguely, yeah, I think, yeah.
Oh my God, man, it's fantastic. Their music paints a picture of that 80s whole Terminator-ish kind of vibe.
Drive as well. I mean, even though Drive, it has that 80s feel. It took place in LA, the thing with Ryan Gosling. Heat, of course. I mean, there's a lot, and I'm from here. Where are you from? The South, I'm guessing, a little bit with the accent, or no?
Yeah, we're from so Nashville. Yes.
Nashville. Okay, very cool. I've never been to Nashville. I'd love to visit though.
Just let me know when you're here. We'll take you around, man.
Yeah, I actually might take you up on that. I've heard really, really good things, and I would like to do that. But yeah, no, I think that being born and raised in LA, I know this city very well, and obviously, if you come out here, totally show you around all of that. And we shoot a little bit also in the Orange County area. I don't know if you've heard of Orange County. That's where Disneyland is. It's about 30 minutes to an hour south of LA, but it's really nice.
I'm a huge fan of that area. Halloween was filmed in Pasadena, so I'm like all about that particular area.
Oh, it's nice. See, everybody thinks that's like LA, like downtown and Hollywood, all that. That's crazy. Like and I like to be a little bit away, a little bit of the suburbs, a little bit down there, and like the American Pie movies. Yeah, you remember those, of course. Yeah, they shot most of it in like Orange County, actually, like this Newport Beach, actually here in California. So it's kind of interesting that way.
It's amazing how a town, a city, can really take on a cameo, be a cameo or a character in the films themselves.
100%. I mean, even because you've seen all of Shadows, correct? Yes.
Most of it, yes. I was trying to prep. Yes, most of it.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know if you got to the part, but where the party scene where the car pulls up, did you get to that or not yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, no, never mind. But when you get to it, you'll see, we have the driving shots, we have the going through the streets, everything like that. I wanted that underground seedy type thing, especially for those night shots. And I think I personally got it. It's the film I'm the most proud of that I've done so far.
Right on, man. So I guess I was about to ask you to tell me about Shadows. Obviously it's a film that everyone can check out as soon as I get to shut up, and everything, and people can go watch it. Did you mean to go that hard in this film? Because from everything that I've seen so far, this is really well done for quote unquote an indie film.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. This is definitely my most critically acclaimed film that I've done. So critically and all of that, people said this is my best work. There was somebody that said this is the best indie crime film that they've seen, and it was a critic that was a little bit harsh on some of my other films, but he's like, yeah, you're like, he hit me up after and he's like, Mike, you weren't kidding, this is your best film. So when you have a chance as well, you can see, I consider probably my second best film this film, Chase. I don't know if you looked that up. Chase is my most successful film. Again, I have to see how Shadows does and all of that, but Chase I'm very proud of. But I feel like Shadows is a better film. overall, just in terms of story, scope, everything. So it was my longest film. So we shot it in 25 days, which might not sound like a lot, but
Mhm.
sometimes I have only the luxury to shoot for 15 days or something like that. But I think based on the cast and everything, I knew I had something special. But when it was put together, I mean, I'm so proud of it, you know. And it
How
just
long did
sucked. Yeah,
sorry,
sorry.
how long did Shadows take from day one of shoot till post production being finished, everything being
Yeah,
completed?
so funny. So we shot it in August and November of 2019. So when the
Pre-pandemic.
pandemic hit, yeah, when the pandemic hit in like March or whatever, we were on the tail end of finishing it. And that's the one thing, and again, I'm not trying to be selfish about it, but that's one of the worst things that I hated about this pandemic, because we weren't able to have a huge premiere and film festival screening and circuit and all that for this, during that. Now we had one thing which was cool in summer of 2021, but it still wasn't the same. I'm old school. I like the in-person type stuff. I like
Yeah,
the
same.
you see it. I'm old school. If we're all sitting there, I love being kind of fly on the wall almost, and hearing people's reactions to the violence, to the actions, if they're laughing at something, whatever. So not being able to have a packed theater at that point killed me.
I feel like that would mean a lot to a filmmaker to be able
Yeah,
to see those initial, actual human reactions from a theater,
I
especially.
live for that.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't that seems like that would help in creating future projects, being like, what really stuck out from that last one and made people's heads turn was this. I need to maybe pursue that.
You
Um,
see what works and you see what doesn't work, and you see what people like, and I just mentally I feed off of that. I love it, so that was a pain. Thankfully things are better and all of that, but man, during that I was so and that's why I made this film The Handler, which was just kind of a one location micro budget thing during the pandemic, because I was like, I got to do something. I got cabin fever. I got to make some
right.
sort of film out there.
Yeah.
And, we barely had a pre production. It was like 1 month, but you see the difference with Shadows. I had about 5 months before we filmed the pre production. So if you're talking from there to there, it was about a year, if not more, from literally the start of planning to film it to being completely edited. In my film Charisma Killers, I've been in pre-production since March,
Okay.
and we're shooting it in October. So it's these long pre-productions, but I feel like they make for my best films.
It's being shot in LA as well, Orange County ish.
Shot in yeah, Orange County in LA. Orange County in LA. It's funny because during the pandemic, Orange County was completely open, right? Like it was completely open. And you can look it up. In Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, all that is very open. It's ironically very different than LA in some ways. So everybody was coming down there because that's where they could go and eat and do all stuff, everything. But so we filmed there and a little bit in LA too. So it's fun, and this one is going to be 20-day shoot.
Nice, man. Well,
Yeah.
thanks to Shadows, it's made me want to check out everything pre and post Shadows. So eventually we'd love to have you back talking about another film and the mistress of Los Angeles and how she keeps playing a role. Just real quick, I'm looking at our time here. I'd love to ask you what this is something we do at the end of towards the end of all of our interviews. But one of our big things that we're passionate about is, what drives and motivates and keeps people going in the indie film world, because, it's a beast, man. It's not, you're not working for a big studio yet. You're not, you're hustling, you're grinding, you're wearing all these different hats, you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into a project someone might not think is great. So what keeps you driven and motivated?
I think just working with an amazing team, seeing it build, working with amazing actors. Like for example, last weekend we had a table read
Mhm.
uh, for Charisma Killers, where pretty much everybody except for a couple actors showed up. The couple actors who didn't show up just had scheduling things, but just seeing it, and you go around the table, every character, they read their stuff, and I'm able to hear it. But just seeing everybody get along, seeing just it's an amazing thing to see that like a script can bring so many people together, can do all of that. And I love the collaborative effort of it. So, and I love just hearing my characters and have life breathed into them. It's just amazing. And then seeing it, of course, on screen, and then getting people on social media messaging you, hey Mike, I really enjoyed this, or hey Mike, that person was awesome. All of that. I love it. Like, it's amazing. And I see the DVDs and the stuff you have in the background, and it's just like I'm like that too. My brother's like that as well. My brother is huge into the getting the 4Ks. As you
Yeah.
know, getting all the 4Ks he can get of the Blu-rays and
Yeah, man.
everything.
I haven't gone that route yet because
I know they're
uh,
expensive.
they're expensive. They
Big.
are. Um, I've gotten really big into Criterion Collection.
Yes, Criterion as well is amazing. Yeah.
This last haul, I just picked up everything John Waters had out. So I
Okay,
got it.
very nice. Yeah, yeah. He's got all of
Man,
that
I grew
stuff
up.
going on.
I grew up. I never watched any of his older stuff. I grew up on Serial Mom, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My mother
No,
used to show that to me.
I think Criterion's cool because like they also release a lot of like these art house or foreign films that people might have not been able to see or know about. And then because you keep track, I love their artwork too, like on a lot of them, and their
The essays are
designs.
really well done.
Right, and that too. So no, Criterion's are amazing too. And when they have the sales, I think they have the sales a lot, at least here in like July or November,
Oh
half
yeah.
off. People just swarm Barnes and Noble and get all of that, and
Isn't
wherever
that
they're
crazy that like in the age of streaming, there's still that many diehard folks that wait for a sale twice a
I
year?
love that. I love
Yes.
that. I love that because again, I mean, look, I use social media pretty much every day. Of course, I post, I do all of that. It's a necessary evil, right? But
Right.
thinking back, so I'm 35, when I was in high school or senior year of high school, MySpace was just starting. It was
Yeah.
MySpace. But even before then, it was like, I didn't grow up with this. I'm actually glad I didn't grow up with the constant, like having to post every day and do all of that type of stuff. It's just like I said, I'm old school. Miss
Yeah.
Blockbuster, Miss Tower Records, going to get tangible CDs and all of that type of stuff. It's just that's why I respect filmmakers that still are doing original stuff. And with indie films, we can do that. How many remakes are we seeing? How many freaking sequels that are unnecessary are
Yeah.
we seeing? And it's just like how many stuff it's where it's just like we're just putting whatever certain political agenda crammed down your throat in film. It's like, dude, just tell an entertaining story, you know?
Right. Folks are going to get what they want out of it anyway. And
Correct.
we've been reading in between lines since the dawn of time. So people are always going
Yeah,
to see what they want to see in whatever.
exactly.
I'm sure
Exactly.
people could say that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a political piece, but really it was
Right.
not.
Right, right. Right. So
Well, with a few minutes remaining here,
sure.
the last thing I'd probably like to ask you is what have you watched recently that has just blown you away? What's your recommendation for us? What's your blockbuster recommendation?
Well, it's a few years old, but I only rewatched it a couple months ago. Does that count, or it needs to
Yeah,
be
it
from like
absolutely counts.
I don't know if you've seen this film, but my brother recommended the film and it just blew me away. I knew nothing about it. All I knew was that Kurt Russell was in it in the lead. That's all I knew. This Western called Bone Tomahawk.
Oh my God. Everybody has been talking about that to me. I have
Oh,
not watched it yet.
dude, you need to watch it. It is absolutely incredible. Like
I hear the
it
third act
blew,
is a very big surprise.
oh, I don't want to spoil it. It is some of the most it got to me like you wouldn't even believe. But it is so well done, like so well done, like just really cool. An interesting thing, Western. It was shot in the Santa Monica Mountains near Malibu.
Of course it was.
In
Of
here,
course it
it's
was.
so weird. And I think it's supposed to take place in Colorado or Utah or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Talk about cheating it a certain way. But first of all, I'm a big Kurt Russell fan. I think he's amazing.
Yes.
Everything from, like, I'm sure you've seen The Thing, Escape from New York,
3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Right, you know, Big Trouble in Little China, the whole bit, you know, Hateful Eight. But you need to see Bone Tomahawk. I'll say one other thing in terms of film that came out. I think it was last year, this year. I saw that movie, The Last Duel, the one with Matt Damon and Adam Driver and Ben Affleck. That Ridley Scott film that bombed apparently. And I'll be honest with you, I actually thought it was pretty well done. I'll be honest with you. Like, again, I mean, I'm a big Ridley Scott fan. Obviously, like Gladiator, Alien, you know, all of that stuff. But it wasn't that bad. I was pretty surprised that it bombed box office wise so much. I think Adam Driver's a really good actor. I think that Matt Damon, of course, is great, but it was a well done film to me.
Man, I'll leave you with this. This is my recommendation that I have literally been telling everyone to check out. Are you familiar with The Strangers, Brian Bertino?
Yes. Wait, the horror film, right? No. Yes.
Yeah, it's called The Strangers.
Yes.
Okay, that's done by Brian Bertino. Brian released a film called The Dark and the Wicked.
Okay.
Hands down, scariest horror film I've seen the past 5 years. Very well done.
Wow.
I recommend it to everybody. I blind bought it at Walmart just because of the cover art.
And it was good.
It was a great film. It's fantastic. Very small cast, secluded set. It all takes place on some it's this brother and sister. They go out to take care of the mom, and it's all on the farmland, and just hell comes. It's fantastic. Wow, so you check that out, and I will check out Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
I cannot freaking wait.
I think you will absolutely love it. I'm telling you, it is so damn well done. Like, I'm serious. I loved it.
I'll tell you who the first person was that told me how great it was, and now that I have a filmmaker tell me it's great, you know, I'll assume it is.
Two huge.
My mother-in-law told me how great it was.
It's amazing, and again, I love Kurt Russell. Like, he's just fantastic.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Michael, thank you so much for popping on and doing this quick interview with us today for our channel. You know, we look forward to seeing more stuff from you. I mean, Shadows is fantastic. We've got the Charisma Killers and the Sweepers coming up. So keep us posted, and we'd love to have you back for a quick chat on those.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Michael. Have a great day.
You too. See ya.
See ya.